This is Lesson 10. And Lesson 10 is entitled, Get Back Your Power and Uplift the World. So this is kind of the post. What happens after we forgive? What does it look like? How do we know we've forgiven? And how does that affect people around us? And how is that going to affect the world if more people forgive? How do you know you've forgiven? This question comes up so often. I go through a forgiveness process. How do I know I've forgiven? One answer is look in the mirror. If you're happy, then you know you're forgiven. A lot of times, if you're questioning whether you're forgiven, you probably haven't forgiven yet. Still something there. But when you're completely free of that resentment, when you see that person and just nothing negative is there, when you feel the burden is gone, you feel lighter, you feel no more energy being zapped from you because of the hatred that you've been suppressing, then you know you've forgiven. That's the sign. You transform. When you have forgiven, events of the past will no longer have any negative effect on you. That's the power of forgiveness. A negative event, it's been affecting your life. When you forgive, that event is neutralized. It no longer affects you at all. Isn't that amazing? Do you realize how powerful forgiveness is? That it can neutralize a negative event in your life that's been harming you, even destroying you for years, decades, maybe your entire life. Forgiving can neutralize that negativity to such a point that that event no longer has any negative effect on you. Isn't that amazing? That's how powerful forgiveness is. And when you see that person who hurt you, and you feel no negativity, then you know you've forgiven. When you think of that person and what's going on in their lives, and you feel no negativity, then you know you have forgiven. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. There's a saying, you can't change the past, but you can enlarge the future. So when you forgive, nothing you can do about the past. You can't change it, but you can forgive the past. And you can create a much better future. So therefore the saying, today is the first day of the rest of your life. Because today you can go forward without all the burden of that grudge. You can dissolve it, and you can go forward in your life as if today is the first day of the rest of your life. You got a new beginning. Can't rewrite the story, but you can create a new beginning and rewrite the story from now forward. When you don't forgive, you are keeping your resentment alive and well. So here's an example of a pot. And the devil is stirring the pot, and he's keeping whatever in the pot is warm, alive, and well. So think about your resentment. Are you keeping it alive and well? If you have it, the answer is yes. Think about your resentment. Are you stirring it? Are you keeping it alive and well? If you are feeling any resentment, you're keeping that pot alive. You've got the flame on. You're cooking it up. I know it's hard to maybe confront that, or maybe you might think I'm being insensitive, but I'm just trying to be truthful. That's actually what's going on. Remember, you will either offer the world more resentment or more forgiveness. So if we want to make the world better, obviously if we offer the world forgiveness, it's going to be better. If we offer the world resentment, it's going to be worse. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what are we offering the world? What do we want to offer? Obviously we want to offer forgiveness, but what are we offering? And by offering resentment, the world's not going to get better. You might think, well, it's not really affecting the world. It is. Because your consciousness, your behavior affects everyone. And there's a mass consciousness, and there's energy. And we have energy fields, and it's going out, it's affecting people around us. Could you imagine if everyone in the world were forgiving? The world would be an amazing place, wouldn't it? No matter what you do, you're forgiven. And no matter what's done to you, another person is forgiven. That would be amazing. You are the only one who can uplift the world. What does that mean? We look at the world and we say, what's wrong with the world? The problem with the world is me, because I can do something to make the world better. So Mother Teresa was asked, what is the problem with the world? She said, the problem with the world is I'm a sinner. She took it on herself. If I change, I can shift the energy of the world. If we all change, we can uplift the world. When you uplift your consciousness, you can change the world. We have a project, it's called the Mantra Project, which encourages people to chant mantras. Because we understand if enough people chant mantras, they can shift the balance in the world from bad to good, from evil to purity, from impurity to purity, just by chanting mantras, because it purifies the whole atmosphere of the world. Just by chanting a mantra, just by having spiritual thoughts, you can affect the consciousness of other people. You can affect the mass consciousness of the world. The world can actually change because of the way people think. And the world has changed dramatically in the last 30 years. When I grew up, nobody was vegetarian except like the oddballs. And everybody thought, oh, that guy's going to die because he doesn't eat meat. Look how the world has changed. Nobody believed in reincarnation. Nobody believed in reincarnation. Nobody believed in karma. If you believed in these things, people thought you're really out there on the edge. Look how the world has changed. It's changed because people became aware. Consciousness was changing. More people started doing yoga, meditation. It's affecting the consciousness. So you can affect the consciousness of the planet by giving more forgiveness to the world. And this is our last slide. Your life is your message. So my question to you is, what's your message? Your life is your message. We are walking billboards. It's not what we say that's our message, but it's what we do. What we do speaks louder than our words. So ask yourself, what's the message? What message does my life give? Our lives at least should give the message of kindness, compassion, forgiveness. Does your life give that message? You're a walking billboard. What's your message? Reflect on this. It's a powerful meditation. And thank you for attending this course. So I wanted to tell you what I've realized from teaching forgiveness, because what I've learned by teaching is actually far greater than what I've learned by studying it. Even I've learned more by teaching it than I did by doing the forgiveness process on myself. And I never really understood how transforming forgiving could be until I taught it again and again and again and saw the transformations in people's lives, and then saw them later, years later, and got their feedback how much it changed them, how much they struggled with an issue for years, and how in that one course over a weekend, or 15 hours online, their lives are transformed permanently. And I realized that everything that I've been teaching about spirituality, about spiritual self-development, about changing consciousness, every one of the main principles came out in the forgiveness workshop. It was there, teaching things like responsibility. In the forgiveness workshop, we'd have to learn things like detachment, letting go, understanding karma, what karma is teaching us, trying to look at our story from a spiritual perspective as if God or a great saint like Jesus or Buddha were speaking to us saying, this is what's really going on, this is what's really happening. We had to look at what's going on in our heart, where is our compassion? Why is it that we want to be forgiven when we do something wrong, but sometimes we're reluctant to forgive others when they harm us? What's going on with our compassion? Why is it that we can't empathize enough? We looked at what we're getting through resentment. A lot of times we're getting a kind of perverted happiness. We're getting to be martyrs. We're getting to blame. We're getting people's sympathy. Oh, you poor thing, you've been hurt. And we look at like these perverted things that come out of us. And we have stories how we're hurt. And those stories allow us to fail, because when we fail, we can blame it on the situation or blame it on that person. And then later on, I learned something amazing, that in the 12-step program, one of the key elements of the 12-step program is forgiveness. They say that you can't actually overcome addictions without forgiving. And then later on, I learned that there have been many, many studies in the corporate world how forgiveness has transformed relationships, has transformed teams, has transformed individuals. And the reason it transforms individuals is because resentment drains our positive energy. And so when people forgive, they become happier. They become more positive. And the most successful people are not the most intelligent and most skilled. The most successful people are the most positive and happy. And forgiveness makes you very positive, and it makes you very happy, and resentment makes you not so positive and not so happy. So the forgiveness process, even done in the corporate sector, had amazing effects on just bottom line productivity, bottom line things the corporate people are looking for, how we get along, how we support one another, our creativity, our energy, our enthusiasm, our optimism. So the more and more I taught forgiveness, the more and more I realized it's not just a course that people come to because they have an issue that they're dealing with. It's a course that people should come to change their consciousness, to take their consciousness from wherever it is and raise it to this divine level of forgiving. Because any little issue you have, if you learn to forgive, it'll go away. And the most amazing thing I learned from forgiving, or from teaching it and forgiving myself, is that once you learn the forgiveness process, you become proactively forgiving, so that nobody really can harm you, nobody can really bother you. You don't allow issues and little things to get under your skin. You don't want to go there. Because once you release this negative energy, you never want to bring it back again because you feel so much better. It's like maybe you have a bad diet, a poor diet, and you don't feel well. And then you get on a healthy diet and you feel great. You don't really want to go back to that poor diet because you know how you felt on it. You don't want to feel that way anymore. So in the same way, when you forgive, you feel so much better, you feel so much happier, so much more positive energy in your life, that when something negative happens to you, you don't want to go there again into the resentment mode, that negative emotion, that lower consciousness. You've been there, you're over it, you don't want to go there again, you're just happy to be forgiving. So you become proactively forgiving. I like to look at it like wearing a raincoat. You wear a raincoat and all the rain's coming on you and you remain dry. So when you learn how to forgive and you've gone through a process, forgiveness process, it's like wearing a raincoat, and all this negative energy comes from people's misbehavior, people's abusive behavior, people's harsh words, criticism, and so forth. And you're wearing this forgiveness raincoat and it doesn't really affect you. Isn't that amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing to live a life like that? Well, you can live a life like that now. If you go through the forgiveness process, you can live like that. Your whole life, things will really not bother you. They'll just fall off you like rain on a raincoat. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons, or the greatest things to be achieved through forgiving. So, I encourage you, we have a full online course of our full 20-step process. We take you through the whole process. We have many, many text documents for you to study. We even have a course if you want to learn how to teach forgiveness. You take our full forgiveness course and then you take our training and you can teach the course. If you're a counselor, a teacher, or a spiritual teacher, you can do amazing work by helping people forgive, because when they forgive, everyone around them appreciates it. Everyone they work with appreciates it. So teaching one person to forgive has this effect where many, many people benefit from it. So check this out on our website, and we'd love to be there to facilitate you, and or if you need coaching, we're here to coach you. Thank you.